Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The author then mentions a number of ayat which has the word worship in them. So we can ask a question, what is the meaning and definition of worship? Now worship, it doesn't have one definition, rather it has two definitions. And these two definitions, or these two meanings of worship, differ depending on which angle you are looking at worship from. And these two angles are, firstly, the angle of the action itself, and secondly, the angle of the doer of that action, the person doing the action. So if we start off with the doer of the action, then worship for the doer is to have humiliation with Allah by fulfilling His commandments and staying away from His prohibitions out of love and veneration for Him. Out of love and veneration for Him. Meaning, what is worship for the person is that he is fulfilling what Allah has made obligatory upon him and what Allah has told him to do, and staying away from that which Allah has told him to stay away from. Why? Out of love of Allah, veneration of Allah, humility of Allah, acknowledging that he is only a slave and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the master and the creator. So he has humility in front of Allah, and he doesn't have arrogance, demanding reward or demanding certain things. If a person is like that, then he is not in a state of worship. Rather, a state of worship for a person is that he humbles himself in front of Allah and he worships his Lord out of love and veneration and respect for the one who created him. As for the second definition, which is the definition of worship from the angle of the action itself, meaning what are the actions of worship, then as Shaykh al-Islam, he says, it is ismun jami', a comprehensive noun for everything which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and is pleased with from statements and actions, both external and internal. So it is a comprehensive noun, meaning a word which includes many things. What are these things which are included? Everything which Allah loves and is pleased with. So even, we can say praying salah, reciting Quran, these are acts of worship because these are things which are pleasing to Allah. But also things in your daily lives, honoring the guests, that is something that Allah loves. So if a person does it with a sincere intention to please Allah, then he will be rewarded. And in some narrations, even feeding your spouse, this is something that Allah loves and is pleased with. So if a person does it sincerely for Allah, he will be rewarded for that. And then the rest of the definition is more of an explanation. So from actions and speech, so it could be a physical action, or it could be something that you are saying, whether it's a nice word, whether it's the remembrance of Allah, the praisement of Allah, and so on, or actions like we mentioned, external and internal. External, such as praying and so on, or internal, such as having the fear of Allah, having the love of Allah. These are considered internal actions. So anything which comes under this definition is considered an act of worship. So again, to summarize, the act of worship itself, it is defined in two ways. Firstly, looking at the action itself, and the second, looking at the doer of the action. The doer of the action, it is to worship Allah by fulfilling His commandments and staying away from His prohibitions, out of love and veneration and humility to Allah. And as for the action itself, then it is a comprehensive noun for everything which Allah loves and is pleased with from His statement and actions, both external and internal.